This Corecon training video segment is exploring the prime contract invoice and release of retainage or holdback. The process of releasing or billing out retainage is the same for all four contract types: fixed lump sum, cost plus with GMP, and unit price of billed quantities. Each of the four contract types in their prime invoice wizards have a specific wizard to release retainage or holdback. It's important to note that retainage or holdback is stored in Corecon by job cost code, not by the detailed line item on the schedule of values. To demonstrate the features, we'll find this information by going to the Projects module, selecting a project. First, let's go to the contract admin and take a look at the prime contract. The total contract value is $75,000. That would be before any change orders. We want to make sure that that's been billed out 100%. So if we go to contract admin down to prime invoices, we can see that the total of the prime invoices is 90% of the total contract value. If we go back to contract admin again and go to the prime contract budget and invoice history, we can also see the total contract value. That would include the $10,000 change order. And when we look at the total of the prime invoices, we can see that there is $8,500 or 10% of that total amount that's been held. We want to bill out that amount. Let's go with the assumption that the customer, client, or project owner has decided that at substantial completion, they'll release half of this retainage or holdback. So let's go back to contract admin, down to prime invoices, down to actions, and we're going to add a new prime invoice manually. We do recommend that the prime contract amounts are billed out 100% before you release retainage or holdback. And we also recommend that you keep the retainage or holdback invoice separate from billing down items. So in this case, we're only billing the retainage. Most of the information is filled in. We're going to back the date up to the 31st and assume that this is a release of half of the retainage at substantial completion. Going to go ahead and mark it approved. Go to Save and Next. We're going to use option C. Each of the prime contract types has its own prime invoice wizard to release retainage, but they're all basically the same because retainage is held and stored in Corecon by job cost code, not by line item detail. So we're going to go to option C, Invoice Retainage Only, click Next. And you can see at this point, 10% or $8,500 of the retainage is still unbilled. And also notice that it's by job cost code, not by line item detail. Since $8,500 represents 10% of the contract value and the total of prime invoices, we want to release half of that, or 50% of the 10%. So we're going to select all, but we could select individuals, billing them down at different rates. But we're going to go up to Global Changes. We're going to work retainage release 50% of that. And there's a few other options how to do that. And then we're going to click Save. And before we finish this prime invoice, we're going to notice that of the original $8,500 that was held in retainage or holdback, we're now releasing half of that. We're bringing it from 10% down to 5%. You could also enter dollar amounts instead of percentages, but the Global Changes option will let you bill down or bill out retainage quickly. Then we'll click Skip. We're going to confirm that amount again. So far we have $8,500 held. We're releasing or billing down $4,250. That's going to leave a remainder of $4,250. We'll take a look at the prime invoice. Notice that the current billings work is 0 because we already had billed out 100%. Same for change orders. If we go back up to the application and certificate for payment, we can see now that we have reduced retainage to half of the 10% or 5%, totaling $4,250. But again, notice that the total completed and stored to date was 100% of the revised contract value. Now let's go a few weeks forward. And again, you might want to go back out to contract admin and into the prime contract budget and invoice history. You can see again, total retainage less the amount released and the balance due. So a few weeks later, the customer comes and says, go ahead and bill out the balance. So we're going to go to Actions. We're going to go to Add Manually. We'll let all of the information fill in. I am going to mark it approved. Go to Save and Next. Again, we're going to use the invoice retainage only. Click Next again. Select all job cost codes. Go to Global Changes. Now we're holding 5%, but we want to bill out 100% of the 5%. So we're going to put 100 in there and click Skip. Now we'll go down and check to make sure we have it all taken care of. So after the third invoice, we had $4,250 remaining unbilled retainage or holdback. We've billed out in this final invoice that amount. Now there's no retainage. Again, we go to Reports, Prime Invoice Details. I'm going to print it to PDF. And you can see total revised contract value, the total completed and stored to date. Now retainage is showing as 0. If we go down to the continuation sheet, the current billings, work total and stored materials total is still 0 because all we're doing is releasing retainage. Same for the change order. And now also the less retainage column on the continuation sheets are also 0. It's also important to remember that when you print the final, when you go to Reports and the Prime Invoice Lien Waivers, you're going to want to select either the conditional final or unconditional final lien waiver to print at the same time. If you'd like to know more about this information, we encourage you to go to the knowledge base, to leads and projects, to contract admin, and down to the prime contract invoice. There's additional information as well as the information we covered in this training video under bill or release retainage.